Brownlee Reservoir on the Idaho-Oregon border. Gorgeous fall winter day. Well, it's November, I believe, 25th. And I came up here to pick up a 30-foot RV for my best friend Pat. There, he and his family are down in Cancun. I'm watching his house and taking care of one of his businesses, and one of his businesses is renting RVs. It's the last one of the year, I think, so he had a hunter from Texas out here for about 2 weeks. I delivered it, and I came back to pick it up. I'm just missing the snow, so it'll be a good time to get out. It's a fun road trip. Great restaurant on the way back that I'm going to stop in. I also like to, talk a little bit here about forgiveness. I was thinking about it on the road trip up here, and it is everything. Depending on your perspective, but we've had many teachers come here and try to teach us about this, from Muhammad to Gandhi to Buddha to Jesus. All talk about forgiveness, turning the other cheek, forgiving our enemy. So many people, including myself in my old life, talk the talk, but we don't walk the walk. And trust me, it is hard, a lot harder to do than saying it. Let go and let live. And letting go is part of that forgiveness. And there is a peace and bliss that come with that if we can actually do that. My old business, my main business out of Texas is basic holistic nutrition business that we've helped people for over 10 years basically turn their lives around. And mainstream science and medical science says that anger, stress, holding things inside causes major illness. It's known. This is not something woo-woo in the sky. So we hold on to anger, we get pissed at somebody, we hold on to that, we don't forgive somebody, we hold on to sometimes lifetimes, families are divided. We've all been there, including myself. But we have to let that go. And for me in my life, it happened, I was in a little story here. I can't tell the whole story yet, it's too much time, but I'll bits and pieces. I was in a relationship towards the end of my career in Los Angeles in the movie business. And we were living together, and her and I were doing movies together. And it was great at the beginning. She was a very dynamic individual, but as I kind of looked back and got out of that later, I realized that, everyone says their exes are crazy, but she was a sociopath, and I think even borderline personality disorder. She was, once I sort of understood what I was in and got out of it, realizing she was one of those people that left a trail of destruction her whole life. People, businesses, she just was not a nice person. She just went out of her way to destroy people. And we were living together, and she just about destroyed me. Now, I'm not putting all the blame on her, because it takes two parties to be involved, but we were both drinking heavily. I was on the path of really drinking myself to death. And she had just about destroyed me. I was burnt out of my career. We were just finishing a movie up, and I had just had it. I was at my bottom. I didn't see any way out. And I had the wherewithal to get out, basically. I knew if this relationship continued and the life I was leading, I was just burnt out. Someone was going to be in jail or dead, probably. So I hopped on a plane, February 6, 2006, and never looked back. A one-way ticket, and I left a lot behind. And I just packed what I could pack and headed back to where it was home, was Idaho. That's another long story I'll tell another time. But that first year after I got back to Idaho to try to get my health, I was in bad shape. Like I said, I was drinking myself to death. And one of the things I had to do was quit drinking. One of the best things I did. And I had to let go of a lot. I was angry with her. I had all these scenarios for a year afterwards. I was obsessed with her because she had stolen from me. She had done all sorts of things to me, and I was going to get her back. And I wasn't going to let go, and I had to go back to LA, and I was going to get all my other friends to rally. But I realized that it just made me feel worse and worse and worse. And I had one of many epiphanies is I had to let all that go. And once I did, things started changing for me in a dramatic way. I started by forgiving myself and loving myself. And then I forgave her. And I forgave all the other people in that career of mine over the years that had screwed me in contracts and movies and money and whatever. I let it all go. Now, it's not that I will let that happen again. I do draw lines, but I was holding on to all this, and it was just causing anger and angst, and I hadn't slept in 20 years. It was a long process, but once I did that, once I started forgiving myself and loving myself again, and then forgiving her especially, there was a peace and bliss that started. Just the seeds of it, but I saw it. And it continues. Today I can't even, it's indescribable. It's not that I would go hang out with her if I saw her again. But if I saw her, I'd give her a hug. It's all gone. I let it go. She passed away about a year ago, by the way. She drank herself to death, unfortunately. But for me, that was the beginning of a new life. And many of us hold on to this stuff, and we have to let that go. Things happen, but now I'll get angry. Someone will cut me off, or I will get angry, but I deal with the situation and then I let it go. But I don't hold on to it anymore. And there's a peace and bliss that comes with that. There's a Hawaiian saying, ho'oponopono. That means, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. And for somebody that's done you wrong, say that over and over and over. It will be very difficult, but over time, it'll work. You'll start to see, you'll start to let go. You're able to, and relationships will heal. Some won't. Some weren't meant to be. People come into our life for reasons. But forgiveness is one of the most powerful tools we have on this earth. Forgiving ourselves, loving ourselves, and forgiving our enemies. So that's my 2 words for today, my little 2 cents. I'm going to hop in this rig and head back to Boise. Talk to you soon.